When we think about finding intelligent life, we usually look up, right, to the stars. But what if one of the most, alien minds we could ever hope to find is already here, living in our oceans? That's what we're diving into today, the absolutely incredible mystery of the octopus. And it's a great question, right? I mean, how can a boneless blob be a genius? You've got this creature. It's basically a squishy, soft-bodied animal with zero bones, and yet it shows these mind-boggling signs of intelligence. So how on earth is that even possible? All right, so to figure this out, we're going to do a little investigation. First, we'll look at the puzzle itself, this unlikely genius. Then we'll search for clues, first in its totally unique nervous system, and then in its DNA. And finally, we'll reveal the really clever trick that evolution pulled off here. Okay, first up, the unlikely genius. Let's just set the scene a bit. When you think of smart animals, what comes to mind? Probably apes, right? Or dolphins, maybe a really clever dog. An octopus? Well, it doesn't exactly fit that picture, does it? I mean, look at it. A soft body, these squiggly arms, no bones at all. It's just not what you'd pick out of a lineup for brainiest creature. On paper, it's the last candidate you'd expect for serious brain power. But then you watch what they do, and their behavior tells a whole different story. And we're not talking about simple party tricks. No, octopuses have been caught opening jars from the inside. They solve complex puzzles. They famously escape from tanks that are supposed to be completely sealed. They even use tools, like they'll carry coconut shells around to use as a portable hideout. All of this points to a mind that can plan, strategize, and solve problems. So where is all this cleverness coming from? Well, our first big clue is in their nervous system, and let me tell you, it is radically different from ours. See, for us humans, it's pretty straightforward. We have a centralized system, our brain is the big boss, the command center, sending orders down the spinal cord. Easy. But octopuses, they went a completely different route. They do have a central brain, sure, but most of their processing power is decentralized. It's spread all over their body. And they've got a lot of brain power to work with. An octopus has something like 500 million neurons. Now, to put that in perspective, that's roughly the same as a dog. But here's the crazy part. It's not about how many they have. It's about where they have them. Just look at this breakdown. A tiny 10% of all those neurons are actually in the central brain. So where's the rest? A massive 60%. Yeah, more than half are located directly in their arms. You heard that right. In a way, each arm has its own little brain. So what does that actually mean? It means each arm can basically think for itself. It can touch something, taste it, and decide how to move, all without waiting for instructions from the main brain. It's like this incredible distributed consciousness. Think about it. What if your arm could tie your shoes for you while you were busy reading a book, without you even having to think about it? That's kind of what it's like to be an octopus. But, okay, a brain in every arm isn't the whole story. Our next clue takes us even deeper, right into their DNA. It turns out scientists have discovered that octopus DNA is packed with something called jumping genes, or transposons. And these things are, well, they're pretty wild. So most genes just sit where they are, right? Not these. Jumping genes can literally cut themselves out of the DNA and paste themselves into a totally new spot. This process can stir things up, creating a lot of new possibilities, and it might just be the secret sauce for the octopus's cleverness. But the truly amazing part is where in the octopus these genes are getting to work. And this brings us to the big reveal, the final piece of our puzzle. This is where we connect the dots between that strange, decentralized nervous system and these weird jumping genes to see what's really going on. Okay, get ready for this because it's pretty mind-blowing. In us humans, these same kinds of jumping genes are active in a part of our brain called the hippocampus. And what does the hippocampus do? It's all about learning and memory. Now, in octopuses, guess where these genes are active? In a part of their brain called the vertical lobe, which is their center for, you guessed it, learning and memory. It's an absolutely incredible parallel. There's actually a name for this amazing phenomenon. It's called convergent evolution. Basically, it's what happens when two totally unrelated species, I'm talking separated by hundreds of millions of years, end up evolving a very similar trait, all on their own, to solve a similar problem. And that's what's so wild here. Humans and octopuses couldn't be much more different on the evolutionary tree. We're mammals. They're mollusks related to clams. And yet, somehow, evolution came up with the exact same clever trick for both of us. Use these jumping genes to supercharge the learning centers of the brain. Different paths, but a surprisingly similar destination. So let's wrap up our investigation. The mystery of our boneless genius? We've got some pretty solid answers. That decentralized nervous system lets them multitask like crazy. Those jumping genes give them the cognitive horsepower in their memory centers. And the whole thing is a textbook case of convergent evolution.
And that really leaves us with one last big thought to chew on. The octopus is proof that you don't need a backbone or even a big central brain to be highly intelligent. It shows us that a mind can evolve in a way that is just profoundly alien to our own. So it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other kinds of intelligence might be out there, hiding in plain sight, in forms we haven't even begun to recognize?